Warning: due to the graphic content in this program, viewer discretion is advised.
In a South Australian courtroom, the story of a former music teacher, Janelle Fletcher, has drawn national attention. Fletcher, now 40 years old, is standing trial after allegations surfaced that she inappropriately engaged with a teenage girl she once mentored. But in her testimony, Fletcher denied all wrongdoing, describing key events as misunderstood or misrepresented. This case, like many others we've covered here, doesn't just involve shocking allegations. It involves the difficult line between mentorship and manipulation, and it forces us to look closely at how influence and access to young people can be misused, even in settings designed to nurture talent and growth. Janelle Fletcher was well known in her local community as a passionate music educator. She taught vocal performance, led youth ensembles, and helped young performers explore their creative voices. But behind the scenes, prosecutors allege that something far more concerning was happening. The trial has heard disturbing testimony that includes inappropriate behavior between Fletcher and one of her teenage students. Prosecutors allege Fletcher not only encouraged the girl's trust, but gradually crossed professional boundaries, both emotionally and physically. One of the most widely discussed moments came when photos surfaced of Fletcher and the girl inside a cinema photo booth. The images show the two locked in what appeared to be a kiss. In court, Fletcher claimed the moment was taken out of context, describing the kiss as playful, and saying it was something she neither initiated nor expected. According to her, it was nothing more than a pretend kiss between friends, a moment she regretted even participating in. But the prosecution argued otherwise. They say this was one of several troubling moments that escalated over time. The court heard that Fletcher allegedly created opportunities for the girl to be alone with her, including in her home and even in her car. In one account, prosecutors say Fletcher allegedly gave one of the girls a lap dance while the teens were present. Later that night, she allegedly dared the girls to kiss each other and asked if they would consider dating. Fletcher has firmly denied those claims. On the stand, she insisted that she never intended any harm, and that her actions were misinterpreted. According to her defense, the relationship she had with the teen was never inappropriate, and remained within the bounds of friendship and mentorship. Prosecutors, however, presented emails and messages exchanged between Fletcher and the teen as evidence that their relationship had become personal in nature. They allege these messages show signs of grooming, where an adult gradually builds trust with a minor in ways that may later lead to exploitation. These types of relationships often start with attention and praise, slowly moving into private conversations, increased access, and emotional entanglement. At the heart of this case is a serious question. Was this simply an adult becoming too close to a student, or was it something more intentional and inappropriate? The girl, who is now an adult, testified that the relationship became confusing and uncomfortable. She described feeling flattered and admired at first, but later unsure of how to respond to certain behaviors that made her uneasy. That uncertainty, experts say, is often common in these types of cases. Grooming doesn't always look like overt manipulation. It can feel like mentorship, friendship, even affection. And that's what makes it so dangerous. The court has also heard that Fletcher's behavior included isolating the teen from her peers and encouraging a special bond that made it harder for the girl to say no. According to the prosecution, these are classic signs of inappropriate influence, creating a dynamic where one person holds emotional or psychological power over another. Fletcher's defense has focused on character references and the absence of any prior complaints. They argue that the photo booth moment and other alleged incidents were not sexual in nature, but misunderstood acts between a teacher and a student who shared a love of music and trust. As the case draws to a close, closing arguments have been delivered and the community is left watching, waiting, and wondering, how did a trusted educator end up here? Was it a series of poor choices, or something more deliberate? Cases like these don't just test the legal system, They test the systems of trust we put in place around our children. Schools, arts programs, extracurricular mentors. These are supposed to be safe spaces. But what happens when the very people charged with protecting young minds are accused of violating that trust? Whether Fletcher is found guilty or not, this case will likely remain a point of conversation about how we protect vulnerable students and hold educators accountable. And it reminds us that boundaries exist for a reason. Because, when those lines blur, lives can be changed forever. I'm Vanessa Hartwell, and this has been a deep dive into one of South Australia's most controversial teacher misconduct cases. Stay aware, stay informed, and stay vigilant. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Women Are Evil Too on YouTube, where we dig deep into real cases that deserve a closer look.